Hello guys, it's me Shernfi here. Today we have an updated Karthus guide, and this is going to be very specific, detailed ways on how to maximize playing this champion and why I go certain runes, why I go certain items, and you're going to find details about how to play this champion better. The reason why I made this Karthus guide as well, as you guys know, I already have a Karthus guide, but this is going to be an updated guide because Karthus got buffed on the previous patch, and this patch or this buff essentially allows him to clear and not be able to get counter jungled on the first clear, and also he's able to choose essentially which scuttle he wants to go to regardless of where he starts. He can pretty much cross map and his clear speed has become much better. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about rune choice on Karthus. I like Dark Harvest and I like Exhaust. The reason why I like Dark Harvest over the money making rune First Strike is because Dark Harvest gives you more fighting ability, whereas First Strike, you do make money if you're fed. You make a lot of money, to be honest, but if you get hit once, obviously your First Strike doesn't work, which can be a real pain in the ass in the early game fights. And the red tree in general is more aggressive than Inspiration Tree. You have Cheap Shot, and you have Eyeball Collection, and you have Treasure Hunter. Well, you would only get Cheap Shot as an extra, which is just little benefits like that. And secondly, I go Presence of Mind and Last Stand with double adaptive and armor. And when it comes to Flash versus Exhaust, I like to think of it as if they have dive champs that need to all in, that are immobile, I go Exhaust. But if they have champions that are very kitey, like ranged champions, I like to go Flash. So you will have to decide based on who you're versing and their ability to all-in you. For example, I would go Exhaust versus a Zed and Nidalee, like an AP mid-jungle duo with an assassin mid. But I would go Flash against like Ezreal, Karma, Victor, these type of champions. So that will be up to you to be able to decide. Okay, so for abilities, you have Death Defied, which essentially when you die, you turn into a zombie state for 7 seconds and you get to use all your abilities while you're dead. This combos really well with Last Stand, and it gives you a lot of damage, especially when you have Liandry's. This benefits a lot with Karthus E. It's very hard to just run over Karthus passive when you're decently fed. But at the same time, sometimes Karthus can be really useful and useless if you do not have the appropriate damage or items, EXP, level, and gold. Now we have Lay Waste. This is your main ability. The main point about this ability is it does double damage when one target is struck. So that's going to be very important for clearing and trying to maximize your DPS on champions as well. And this obviously is one of the biggest reasons why we're even here talking about this champ, is because it does 95% damage to monsters now. Now we have Wall of Pain. This is going to be used to face check areas. Your Q not so much because it's kind of short range and people are waiting for you in a bush and you just kill it. There's a good chance you're just going to get engaged on. But the W wall is 1000 range, so this is going to allow you to not need to ever face check, which is one of its most beautiful uses besides the slow, the magic, reduce magic resist when people get hit. This is going to be your main ability to not die on this champ, because this champ's very easy to die on. Now Karthus E, this is going to be your mana restoring ability, and also, as I've mentioned before, when you die in your passive, this is going to be an important ability to stop people from just walking forward into your teammates, because it does a lot of damage if you just sit in it. assuming you're decently fed, and this will also help you clear. Last but not least, we have Requiem. It's a global ult, and this is probably what makes Karthus very fun for us, the people who play it, and very frustrating for the people who do not play Karthus and are versing it. As you can see, one of the main strengths of it is it has 75% AP ratio. So building AP is very valuable on this champ because, again, the stronger your ulti is, the more threat of them dying just from the global channel. And it might sound obvious, yes, obviously you want to build more AP, but there are some champions like Talia, for example, who have quite awful AP scaling where you would rather build utility items. So that's what I mean. Building damage AP will be a big benefit when it comes to Karthus because of his ult AP ratio. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about items. First off, I actually like going red smite against dive champions and blue smites against a lot of ranged champions. Red smite actually works really well, surprisingly, when people just try to dive on you because they take reduced damage, and effectively you're going to do more damage to them if they're just diving in on you. You're going to be able to weave in auto attacks as well, so this is going to be very useful along with exhaust. If you decide to go exhaust with red smite, it's actually very frustrating for someone trying to dive on you. And as for first buy, with this rune setup specifically, where you have no magical footwear, you can rush Sork Boots, but when do you rush Sork Boots versus Lost Chapter? Because these are both the goals. Lost Chapter because of the passive, restoring 20% max mana, and the ability haste, which is really useful for when you use your first ulti. Remembering that your ulti or ability cooldown only works when you have CDR, not after. So you have to use your ability when you have CDR for CDR to actually work. So having CDR on your first ult will help for your second ult, essentially what I'm saying. And so say you have first buy. If you have 1300 gold, I will always go Lost Chapter. If you have 1100 gold, I would consider Sork Boots if it's a very volatile game and everyone is fighting a lot. So depending on that answer or that situation, you will choose whether to go Sork Boots first or Lost Chapter. Or rather, if you only have 1100 gold and you can't go Lost Chapter, you will be deciding between Fiendish Codex or Sork Boots as your first buy. Again, depending on whether the game is very chaotic and volatile, which in solo queue can happen a lot. Now we're going to move on to the first item. So this can be another situation where it is situational. So I will go Leandris when they have a lot of dive champs that have no disengage. For example, a Rel, a Samira, what's the top lane champ? An Ornn, a Sion, a Yasuo, a Yone. Essentially melee champs or low range champs that are committal. Leandris is going to be your best buy. Now, ranged champions. Karma, Ezreal, Victor, Control Mages, Nidalee, Lilia. Just ranged champs in general, we're going to be buying Ludens. After you've decided whether you go Ludens or Leandris, we're going to try to buy either one of three: Shadow Flame, Zhonya's Hourglass, or Rabadon's. Zhonya's will be your last option. Like, you'll probably never buy this unless you're versing literally full AD and you have Exhaust, Red Smite, and Leandris. But if you have Ludens, I don't see ever a reason why you will go Zhonya's. Because if you're going Ludens Zhonya's, then you probably should have went Leandris. Because the goal is to make your ulti as threatening as possible. So giving it the most AP, and Zhonya's is a very cheap item for defensive uses, not for offensive uses. So we will be looking at getting Rabadons if possible, especially with Ludens. It will help a lot because of the AP scaling on Ludens and the AP scaling your ult. But if we can't get that, then Shadow Flame is perfectly fine. So once you've decided between Shadow Flame or Ludens, now you have to decide whether to go Void Staff or Zhonya's or Rabadon's. Essentially, you want Shadow Flame and Rabadon's together. That is the Holy Grail, the Bible, the everything for Karthus. And once you get to that stage, you'll be almost level 16, or you'll be level 13 if you're fed 13 to 16 range. And your ultis will be doing a lot of damage. And then after that, you're going to have to decide between Zhonya's or Void Staff, depending on what you want. If you want to survive a little longer, Zhonya's. If you want your ulti to be more threatening, Void Staff. And last but not least, we're going to be talking about the late game when you have more money than you need. That is when you can sell your sock boots and get Demonic Embrace. And this has won me a game before that I remember from recent memory. Because I sold my sock boots in an Elder Dragon fight, my Demonic Embrace ulti and my passive when I died with my E with Demonic Embrace combined with it was very, very effective. So if you ever get into those 6-item games, guys, look out for selling your boots for Demonic. For first clear, we're not going to talk specifically about how to clear 254 or 255, whatever the fastest clear speed is. We're particularly going to be talking about why we start blue and essentially what needs to be done to get really fast. So there's already a video explaining that, but most basic understanding I can give you that I feel like might be a little bit of a better explanation. The clear is simple as starting at max range at 129 when the blue boss spawns and queuing, and then QQ auto Q auto. That's going to be your main ability for big buffs like this, and for smaller camps like wolves and raptors that are AoE based and not single target camps, you're just going to QQ auto and keep kiting backwards. And that essentially, if you practice that and kind of process what I'm trying to say, it took me a while, you will just get it down and it won't be a problem for you. Even if you mess up a little bit here and there. The reason also why this clear is kind of important is because you can be flexible. So you're always going to try to start blue no matter what, because essentially if you start blue, they cannot invade you unless they level 1 invade your red. So what I mean by that is your clear is so fast, unlike before they could kind of meet you on your red or golems, but now that your clear is so fast, they cannot even meet you on your red and golems. Alright guys, now we're going to be talking about the mindset of playing Karthus. Besides the obvious fact that you're going to try to be as efficient as possible when clearing your camps and try to clear them on spawn when possible, what are the other factors that are going to make you successful at this champion? So for example, in this game, as I've already spoken about your first clear, you're literally always going to do the same first clear. You will always start blue and full clear unless another situation arises where you need to adapt. But in this case, I am pathing top, and because I'm purple side, I am pathing to top lane. And essentially, after I clear here, I recognize that top is either diveable or we can burn his flash. Now, a lot of people would go scuttle here, but the reason why I come top is because with Treasure Hunter, like, it's not worth dying 1-for-1, but it is worth burning someone's flash and having an impact on the game. especially when you've just done your full clear. Scuttle is not as valuable as people think. And now I'm getting collapsed by the mid laner, and I have exhaust. I try to not trade 1-for-1, but I do end up dying. But now I have 1500 gold and 2 treasure hunter stacks. While the ganking jungler Rek'Sai has no assists and is just trying to follow me. So essentially, that play right there, yeah, has netted me 2 treasure hunter stacks, and the jungler not really being ahead in tempo. He's ahead in CS by by double crabbing, but I'm already on the map while he was basing. And he gets a free kill here, but that is what it is. That's my top laner's fault, and it is what it is. He gets a free kill, but I'm still very fed. And we come back top, and we do the same thing. After full clearing, getting a free kill like this is just massive. And don't forget, the reason why you gank lanes is the tax. 50% tax or more. Just remember that. And we go for the plate as well. So we get full clear, full cannon wave, and a plate. And Rek'Sai decides that he needs to cover top. And I burn his flash, and we trade 1-for-1. Bam. Another treasure hunter stack. I tried ult for another free kill. I could not get that. Unfortunate. I decided to go Ludens this game, guys. Do not copy me here. They have Akali, Gragas, Pantheon, and Rek'Sai. I'm pretty sure I should go Leandris this game, but that's fine. And so now that I have Ludens, I'm definitely going to look to fight. So when you have Ludens or Leandris, your goal should be to 3v3 bots, or just to lane gank, like just making sure that you're not just full clearing. This is the mindset you need to have when you're playing Karthus. When you're actually fed, it's not just to farm more. Of course, I just full cleared still. I didn't feel like there was an opportunity bot, but currently I'm actively looking after I full clear here to do something very proactive. Whether that's doing scuttle or just fighting, but I'm definitely really want to fight right now. That's another treasure hunter stack for me, and it's 2 kills for me. Not ideal to die, but there's still 2 kills for me. And obviously, you have to be active on the map with your map awareness for looking for ultis. You should not have your teammates have to tell you to ult. And from this point on, guys, it's really just like I've put myself in a position where when people skirmish, I do so much damage that it's very likely when I die, or if you engage on my teammates, we're going to trade kills. So this is kind of what you want to set yourself up as. And this will not happen just by full clearing and being like, haha, I can press R and just farm. Playing Karthus aggressively and knowing when to play Karthus aggressively on the map is very, very important. But notably, as you guys have seen, all my plays have been after a full clear. So essentially, yes, you want to prioritize camps, you want to be efficient, but you want to know what play you're going to make after you farm. Okay, so people have this assumption about Karthus that the idea of this champion is just to die in your passive and just kill them, when it's actually quite not exactly like that. You want to die when they have used everything to commit on you. So in this example, this Alistair commits on me, I have Zhonya's Exhaust, Red Smite, and I'm able to live on 1 health. And the main goal is to not die, but if they do engage on me, and I do die, that they die for it, because they used everything to kill me. That's why I've explained earlier that Karthus is a double-edged sword, because your passive can be really useful, it can be really useless if you do no damage, or they didn't have to use anything to kill you. They didn't have to commit onto you, they didn't have to use the gap closes on you or ultis. That's when this champ becomes quite weak. Especially when you go Leandris, you're going to try to bait out abilities to make them come towards you. And that is going to be your key to success on this champion, is using your abilities essentially to bait out abilities and to make them commit onto you, because your champion is a very long range champion with your W and your Q, and your E and your Zhonya's and your Red Smite Exhaust, that's going to be your close range weapons, but your Q and W and ulti are your long range weapons. So keep that in mind when you're skirmishing on this champ. Your goal is not to die, your goal is to make them use abilities on you, and costly abilities that they otherwise should have not used because you have your passive. Alright, that's going to be it for my Season 12 Karthus guide. Let me know your preferences in the comments, what you like to run on your runes, what you like to run on your items. This is my preference, and make sure to check out my stream. And if you want to get better as a player, go check out my Patreon. Peace.